Okay, so there's a lot of problems in my game. For example, there's no repeating ground, no environment, ground clipping, no menu, but all those are easily fixed, right? Right? Anyways, the first issue I wanted to fix is the small issue of me just stretching the z-axis of a plane out to like 400-ish for the ground. Unfortunately, this kind of bugged the fog, making it repeat. I don't know, it just kind of did some weird stuff to the game. So yours truly made a script by the name of Environment Repetition, which I totally didn't spell wrong, by the way. The script basically takes a ground prefab, makes a bunch of them, then enables them in front of the player like this. Nice. So now we have completed our first issue of the day. Feels pretty good, except for the impending doom on either side of our player. I just refer to this as the void.
Nice.
Now, I could just say, it's a part of the game. Yeah, the panda is saving the world in the sky. But that's a little bit of a stretch, not gonna lie. So, I made this mock environment with planes, and then I added some code for the environment repetition script, making the environment pieces repeat with the ground. But I know what you're thinking. The blocks don't look very good, and you'd be right. The only way to make it look presentable is by, actually modeling it and creating art. Oh. Anyways, the first step of making any piece of art is looking at references so you can have an idea of what you want your final outcome to be. Luckily, I live around mountains, and that's what we want the environment to look like, mountains. So I just walked outside and took some pictures. Next, I started by making some mountains with Blender's grid and sculpture options, but it didn't really turn out that good, because I'm not very skilled at it. Luckily though, I ended up finding a Blender add-on that creates mountains for you. So I just changed some values here and there, and boom, we now have some mountains. Then I reduced the vertice count because we don't really want any of those because we're making a mobile game. But after that, I UV mapped them and added some colors, so now they look, somewhat presentable. Once I was in Unity, I separated all of the meshes, gave the closer pieces colliders so they could interact with stuff, and then I made each one of them a prefab. Now that they're prefabs, we can add them to the repeating script. But yeah, now we have an environment, no more void. It looks a little weird though because not all the colors look good together, but that's fine. I mean, I think it makes the game look a little bit more complete overall though. So I definitely think I'll add some trees and bamboo to the closer hills to make it look less like a 3D game from like the early 2000s. But yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm excited.
1 week later.
Okay, so this past week or so, I've been procrastinating making the game. But luckily, I'm back. And the next thing I want to work on is the tank model because it looks pretty bad. Anyways, I want the starting tank, to look like a Sherman from World War II because I think they're cool and it would be a good starting tank because they're not too strong or too weak. The first thing I did was I found some reference images online, then I modeled it and boom, it's complete. Magic. How did that even happen? I don't know. Now the next step is to UV map the model. I tried to do it by hand, but I ended up just smart UV mapping it because I'm kind of lazy and for some reason I just couldn't do it by hand. So once I completed all that, all I had to do was paint on the textures. So bada badoo, now the texture is complete. Look at that, it looks pretty good. I also made the track texture separate so we can move it, later in Unity. Okay, next I just added the old tank movements to the new tank and it should go perfectly, right? Right? Well, not exactly, but I did add tread movement, so that's cool. I did this by just moving the Y offset of the material and it gave me an effect that looks like treads moving. Very nice. We completed the tank, the environment, and we got this. We got this tank, you can see the treads moving. They do get faster, like more you go throughout the level, so that's pretty neat. And then, but yeah, you can basically do everything you could do before. We just now have a new tank model. And then the environment, which you can shoot and it'll blow up. You can kind of see near the edges where the mountains will start to come in. And then we added some fog, so you can't just see like the wall right in front of you, but all the environment is randomly generated. Well, we have about like 6 different pieces of environment that we will like randomly spawn in front of each other. And that's basically the random generation for it. But no game would be a game if it didn't have a menu screen. And I want my menu screen to be fluid. For example, I plan on making the screen move side to side instead of, just like a new UI element, just like popping up out of nowhere. Here's my plans for more detail. This is basically my UI from my game design document that I made. You can get a rough idea of what it's gonna look like. Anyways, I started by setting up a simple scene that would look okay for like a testing menu. Next, I made the UI elements so you can click around. The camera movement was kind of tricky for me because I'm spending too much time making art and not enough time programming, but it turned out pretty good. The last thing I did was scene loading, so I just made the start button load the gameplay scene. Anyways, that's pretty much all I did the last 2 weeks on the game. So if you guys liked the video, consider giving it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.